Hello everyone, welcome back to Project Zoo. We are here in the hellish final level still. And we're gonna be in this final level for a couple of parts. And by that I mean this one and the next one. So get ready for that. And I don't know if I said this in the last video because I've been living like a dog lately where I'm only aware of the last like 30 seconds of my life for some reason. But I do like this last level, even though I am very bad at it. But I don't really think I can single anything out about this level that I'm particularly bad at. That it doesn't apply to just the entire game. So. But I like it. I like that it's a little bit more straightforward platforming stuff. I really don't know what I thought was going to happen there. I thought that maybe there would be some kind of epic secret in that little fire pit, but nope. I just cooked my dog by accident. Whoopsie. But yeah, I like that it's a little bit more of a straightforward platforming heavy thing, and the other levels sort of just kind of, there's a bunch of shit and you just have to do it. And there's like a main central thing that you're supposed to be trying to do, but there's also like a ton of other bullshit, and it just points you in a direction and lets you do it, which isn't a problem. I just personally, for my taste and skill level, I personally like just stuff like this. Although later on, and especially in the next video, we're going to be getting into much more enemy-heavy things. And as many of you will know, the combat in this game is not one of my favorite things because of the kind of stickiness of the controls, and the weird hitboxes of everything, and the fact that your knockback animations are like 200 seconds long. They're probably not all that much different from a lot of other similar platformers that I've played, but it's enough for me to notice. I don't know. Anyway, here we are on some pistons, and I am falling and not being able to make these very simple jumps. This part reminds me of the SpongeBob movie game, and I was actually going to say, I've already said before several games that this game's music and some levels remind me of, and this particular part of this music that's playing sounds a lot to me like the Chum Bucket Lab music in Battle for Bikini Bottom, and this area, just for some reason, reminds me of the movie game. Other licensed game that this game has reminded me of throughout the course of playing it are Over the Hedge, Ratatouille, I know there was another one. But yeah, well, I mean, I guess the big story here is just that a lot of licensed games are similar, and I play a lot of games that are like each other because I like a kind of game, you know. Speaking of early 2000s licensed platforming games, something that I often think about and talk about with friends are movies that we think could make good licensed games, and I'm sure I've talked about this before. And I know I've mentioned specifically that a game that could possibly have worked better as a GameCube game than a movie is Shark Boy and Lava Girl. I think that if they had used the $50 million that made up the production budget of the Shark Boy and Lava Girl movie, and instead put it toward, I don't really know how much it costs to make like a normal licensed platformer. Like, I would love to learn what like the budget was for Battle for Bikini Bottom, and I would just like more information in general as to the making of those sort of mid-tier games. which I've also talked about before. But someone should do it. If anyone can find me anyone who worked on Battle for Bikini Bottom or anything, that would be pretty sick. I would like to hear from them. Yeah, don't mind me sucking at the game. The other one that I'm not saying it should replace the movie like Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Did I even finish my sentence? They should have used that money to make like a GameCube or PS2 like action adventure platformer. I'm imagining something along the lines of like maybe like Jak and Daxter or like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking of. But another one that shouldn't have replaced the movie but would have made a good complement to the movie is Monkey Bone. I think the coma world in that movie is perfect for like a zany platformer. That movie makes me think of like a Rareware game. It like when I imagine a video game version of that, it's like a Donkey Kong 64 or like a Conker kind of game. You know, like a very cartoonish but irreverent platformer. Even the Banjo-Kazooie games are like a little more racy than like a Mario game or whatever. Spy Kids 3, but they should have not like a licensed platformer based on the movie, but rather they should just release the video game in Spy Kids 3D as like a VR game. I think that would be really cool. I think I've talked about that before. I can never keep straight what I've talked about on video or on stream, because some of these things are things I know have come up on stream, but, you know, I try to, like, repeat things that I say on stream that I think are worth talking about again. Like my very important opinions on what movies should have had video games. But another one is Inspector Gadget. I'm actually very surprised there hasn't been, like, a good console Inspector Gadget game. I'm sure there's some bullshit on, like, the Game Boy Advance or, like, a mobile game or some shit that I don't care about, but it could be very much like this game where you have a set of gadgets. Also, like Jak and Daxter, you have gadgets in Jak and Daxter, right? I'm remembering that correctly. I don't actually know if I am. But it would probably... I mean, all of these probably... If they had been made, they probably would have, like, sucked. Because there are video games based on movies that I feel like you probably could make a decent video game out of them, but they didn't. They made ones that were stinky. And that was epic. That was a great job by me. I had to do this part about 400 times. I can't really tell you why. Not just the jumping part here, which I, am not very quick to get a hold of, but also the shooty part in a moment. Yeah, I was really just shitting the bed. This was one of those instances where the longer I play something, the shittier I'm getting at it. I don't know if that happens to anybody else, but, like, sometimes my skill goes down the more I try something. Not as in that it's, like, hopeless and I never get it, although that does happen. But in this case, it was more like, I kept fucking up, and so, like, I did it later. Well, I didn't do this part later. And yeah, I thought that I had to use that one. I don't recommend using the veggie one. I recommend using the cum gun. So yeah, this was my successful attempt 200 hours later. That last one is a really close shave. That is the name of a Wallace and Gromit short. Well, it's a close shave, not a really close shave, but you know what I mean. Alright, so we have another child of slavery to free, and we have done it. congruent lions. The zebras look really fucking weird in this. They do not look like zebras. They look like what happens when I try to draw a horse. I think horses are probably one of the most difficult to draw creatures in the world. I don't know what the other ones would be. Maybe like a squid? Actually, I think I would have an easier time drawing a squid than I would a horse. Because the horse, it's just the proportions and the legs, you know? Getting those and the neck and the face. Pretty much all of the parts. Now that I think about it. Horses are not easy to draw. Anyway, here's the rest of the scary level. Now we're in the cold zone. Brr! Chilly. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of this before. I got my ass kicked in the first time. Not by the Pengies, but by this big, slice and dice-atron over there. Which we'll be dealing with in a sec. So how's everybody's day? It's Wednesday today when I'm uploading this. It's hump day. I was telling Liv, the 2 best days of the work week are Wednesday and Friday, because on Wednesday you get to go, I'm halfway there. And then on Friday you get to go, TGIF, baby, you just gotta get through this one last day, and then it's party hardy time for 48 hours, except it's gonna feel like 30 seconds, and then I gotta go to work again. That's how it is every week. I don't know if this is what you're supposed to do. I mean, you're definitely not supposed to, like, get hit by everything, but I just kind of tried to, like, exist in between these things. It was a little hard because it seemed that every time I adjusted myself to be, like, in the right place, they would, like, speed up. That's probably not true, but that's what it felt like. But anyway, I made it eventually, so whatever. And these ice cubes will fuck you up. I don't know if you can't pull yourself up on them when you, like, hang on the edge of them, but this that's about to happen to me here happened to me twice, where, like, I was pressing the pull-up button, I couldn't do anything, and yeah, you just get shitted into the fucking ice hole. So I'm not very happy about that. Not very cash money. Also, don't love these beeping penguin bullet bills that are very scary and move very fast and beep forever. Don't like that. We have some ice cream balls here. They look very tasty. This looks like one of those things in a video game or anywhere that as a kid I would have, like, wanted to eat. I don't know if you've ever seen, like, And it's funny that it's this, because with claymation specifically, there's just... I can't think of any examples off the top of my head at the moment, but there's so many, like, little goopy, sploogey things. That's not what I wanted to say, but you know what I mean. There's lots of gunk and stuff, because it's made out of, like, squishy materials. And there's a lot of... you know when you look at something, the texture of a fake thing, usually like a computer rendering, and you're like, oh, I'd like to chomp that. I'd like to give that a little nibble. That's what those things are. I don't really have that impulse anymore, but when I was a kid, I need to think of an example or I'm going to sound like a fucking crazy person, but I really can't right now. And I always take 19 years to beat these fucking red dot butt boys. Fuck them. Why can't they just be normal? And every time I feel like I'm hitting it, I'm not. And I'm like, I don't know. I want to fucking sue Wallace Incorporated. I'm gonna sue Aardman. I'm gonna burn down their studio again. That was in poor taste. But that did happen. I don't know if people know about that, but Aardman was, I guess, temporarily. I thought that I was under the impression at the time that they were donezo forever, but they've made other stuff since then, so I suppose not. Maybe they relocated or, well, I don't know, some shit. But I thought that it bankrupted them or whatever. But yeah, their main animation studio burned down, I believe in the 2000s. And I forget what effect exactly it had. I was a child when this happened, so I don't remember the details exactly. Of course, I remember all of the details of the SpongeBob Burger King balloon theft of 2004. And by all of the details, I just mean that it happened. This part tripped me up because it's another one of the mismatched thingy things where the buttons don't do the ones that are right in front of it. You have to use your brain noggin a little bit. You gotta get your brain juices juicing. And as you all know, when I play video games, my brain juices take a vacation. I think I use all my brain juice at work, even though I don't really do very intensive work or anything. Oh yeah, this was funny. I tried to, like, make the most of that. I tried to, you know, like, parlay that into a trick, but nah. I love how, because I'm away from the enemies and stuff, it's just silence. And I love how many flat, like, solid surfaces you can stand on that are just, like, miles away in these levels. I can definitely understand how this is such a speedrunified game, because it's very janky and broken, so I imagine if you take that and instead of doing what I do, which is try to play the game normally and get very frustrated when I'm bad at it, and when my badness is exacerbated by the controls and movement and camera being less than ideal, I don't know what that was. I don't know why I didn't talk over it. A good YouTuber would edit it out, but now that I mentioned it, I think I'm just gonna keep it in. I was probably, like, Liv was probably just talking to me. A lot of the time when you see a dissolve edit in here, it's not always that I made a bunch of mistakes. A lot of the time, like, I know right here, I paused again, so yeah, I guess I was probably being asked to do something, and or whatever. But yeah, sometimes it's just that I, like, was paused for a long time and just cut it out. Anyway. But yeah, I can imagine that if you can take the jankiness and brokenness of this game and actually use it to your advantage to do cool things, then it would probably be really fun. Maybe I should try to do that. I probably won't, but what if I did? And I don't remember if I was talking about anything. But yeah, it's Wednesday. Everybody, my sister and a bunch of other people have been messaging me about the impeachment. Impeachment 2, Electric Boogaloo. They're doing it again. Yeah, it's on TV and people are watching it. They're talking about impeaching the guy again for the stuff. This is excellent gaming on my part. And I have not been paying attention to it. I mean, I know what's going on. I've been paying attention to the general things that have been happening, or that happened and are now being revealed. But, like, you know, vis-a-vis the Capitol and all that jazz, which I already talked a bit about. But I have not been watching the impeachment. I don't really care to. I wasn't doing anything much more productive with my time with not watching the impeachment. This is not the time to breakdance, Gromit. This is very inopportune time to decide to get jiggy with it. But yeah, if you watched it, let me know. You know, was it funny? You know, did anyone say anything funny? I bet, you know, what's her face, the lady who, well, I do know there was the one lady, I think it was the girl who had the ad that said, like, I'm gonna bring my Glock to Congress. She, like, was shitting herself over the metal detectors, and a couple of other people were, too. They put metal detectors in the Capitol building, which, I mean, first of all, I think it's weird that this is the first fucking time there's been metal detectors in the Capitol building, apparently. They just added them. And yeah, some Republicans are like, I shouldn't have to stand in line. Standing in line is literally communism. Like, these are Bolshevik metal detectors and all the other dog shit that they say. The funniest thing to me was one of them was Steve Scalise, who was one of the Republicans who got, he was one of the dudes who got fucking shot at the congressional baseball game a couple years ago. You would think that he would probably want to make sure that nobody's coming in there with anything, but no, he was, I have to stand in line for, whatever, 15 minutes at the beginning of my work day. Like, oh, God forbid. When you clock into work to do your like 4 hours per week of work, which mostly just involves like sitting and listening to people and then like voting to make people die and be unhappy. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's silly. I think it's funny. But I have no idea about any of the impeachment business. I like to hear when I like when Gromit waves at the little babies. It's very cute.